So trucking cases are unique. Some people think that a trucking case is just another car wreck, right? Or it's just another car accident. The reality is that the nature of the crashes, when a semi-truck is involved, you've got a tremendous amount of force that's involved. Typically, you're at highway speeds. A lot of times these are on the interstates, or they're on interstate overpasses, or they're on state or county highways. So you've got a lot faster speeds, a lot bigger vehicles involved. And so the very nature of a truck case is really a different animal. They're tough cases in some regards because the injuries tend to be very bad, and they're really complicated. You've got a lot of different things at play. Was the truck properly weighted? Like, for instance, trucks have maximum weight capacity so that they can stop appropriately. A lot of people don't realize this, but an empty truck actually takes longer to stop than a properly weighted truck. So there's a unique thing that happens if trucks that are underweight don't have adequate friction on the tires such that their braking is reduced. So a truck that is completely empty tends to actually go farther when it has to brake than a truck that is properly weighted. On the flip side, a truck that's overweight overpowers the braking of the truck, which needs to be finely tuned, maintained, and inspected regularly. A lot of times they're not. But same thing when an overloaded truck is on the road. That truck also goes a lot farther than a properly weighted truck. Trucks are regulated by what's called the Federal Motor Carrier Safety Act, and that includes things like when they have to be inspected, how often they have to be inspected, what the inspections entail, again, whether or not they're loaded properly, how they're loaded. There's all sorts of restrictions on when they can drive, how long they can drive, how far, those kinds of things. They have to get off the road if the weather's bad. That's something we see a lot in South Dakota, is folks that are not from South Dakota that are driving these big semis, the big 18-wheelers. They're driving these in really bad conditions. The Federal Motor Carrier Safety Act explicitly says that they have to get off the road when it's blizzarding out, when it's sleeting out, those kinds of things. When there are extreme conditions, when the conditions are hazardous, they have to get off the road. The fourth thing that makes semi-crashes unique from a regular car crash is that there's a lot of different insurance companies involved. A lot of times you've got a driver. Sometimes the driver owns the truck. Sometimes a trucking company owns the truck. Sometimes there's a contract between the driver, they're like a for-hire for some other trucking company or a logistics company. A lot of times the trailer is not owned by the same folks because the truck, right, is picking up the trailer at some location and dropping it off. So you've got sometimes 1 to 3 insurance policies on the actual tractor, the power unit. And you've got another insurance policy on the load. Sometimes it gets very complicated. Sometimes the actual cargo is insured and includes liability insurance. There's some other insurance-related matters that are particularly unique and complicated. Why Turbak Law Office is particularly situated to handle these cases is because we've got experience with these cases. We've gone above and beyond to try to educate ourselves about these semi-trucks, these commercial motor vehicles. We go to seminars where we specifically study what to look for. We've got good contacts with accident reconstructionists, folks that are familiar with inspecting these vehicles. And a lot of times in these particular crashes, when we get a phone call, our first call is to an accident reconstructionist. We've got a few of them that we work with regularly, and we get them on scene either at the crash or we get them to inspect the vehicle while it's still existing. Because what happens a lot of times is these vehicles get repaired quickly to try to hide the damage. Any sort of data collection that was available gets wiped. So we try to get out there and get the data right away. That includes things like airbag deployment, braking. Sometimes it includes braking information. Some of these newer trucks have really detailed electronic data about speed, weight, those kinds of things, braking sufficiency, those pretty advanced technology. So that's one of the things that we do. We're familiar with the cases. We've got the contacts to investigate these cases the way that they deserve to be investigated, because they're not just another car wreck case.